welcome to Cigar Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Smokin' Joe.
I'm Brad Jackson.
Welcome to the Con Crud Cast, I think is going to be the new name of this podcast. This is our annual Dragoncon wrap-up show the week after Dragoncon, after we've had time to rest, recover, and collect our thoughts, or suffer through a week worth of post-con, sinus infections.
Yes, that's par for the course. All the infections. Got them right here.
But not the vid. Ha ha ha.
We wouldn't know.
Well, Brad's too congested to smoke, but I'm fighting the crud with smoke, and I'm smoking the new Alec Bradley Filthy Ghooligan. If you've ever had their kind of St. Patrick's Day releases, it's a cool barber pole cigar. Usually it's the Filthy Hooligan or the Shamrock, I think was last year's edition. Well, he's decided to do a kind of Halloween-themed version, and it's got little cool ghosts on the band. It comes in a pumpkin orange box. This guy has a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, barber poled with a USA broadleaf, Besuki Indonesian binder, and Dominican Republic Piloto, and Nicaraguan Condega Esteli and Jalapa fillers.
It sounds quite complex.
It is, and I mean the Filthy Hooligan's good, but it's also got a lot of that.
The Candela?
Yeah, the Candela, which gives it a kind of a grassy flavor. So it's I usually smoke it during St. Patrick's Day. But it's not, a Candela is not something I want to smoke every day. But this being Habano and broadleaf, it's a little bit better, flavor profile than the grass.
Yeah, I was never a huge fan of Candela in itself. And in a barber pole configuration, it's all right because, you're not just getting that one flavor. But, I don't remember the manufacturer, but they used to do, full-on Candela wrappers. And I'm like, that's just too much earthiness for me.
Yeah, it's like I feel like a cow chewing hay in my field if I smoke too many. But they look cool, so it's like every once in a while I'm like, yeah, I'll hit that, and then yeah, it's one of those. It's kind of one of those it's kind of sometimes you have a meal you like, but you can't eat it all the time. It's like every once in a while you're like, I got a craving for that.
All things in moderation.
Yeah, it's but it's definitely not something that makes it into the daily rotation. As we said, we are just past Dragoncon, so we are about to give you our Dragoncon wrap-up thoughts. What we saw, what we did, what we liked, what we maybe not liked. What did we not get to do that we wish we had? Stay tuned for all that and more. And if you're like us and need some energy to get through the day, StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use your promo code CigarNerds for 20% off your order. You can snort it and clear out your sinuses.
At this point, I'm willing to try.
And with that, we'll be back with the main segment. And welcome back. Last Dragoncon. As soon as I can bring up
it's crazy that we're doing the wrap up a week, and I still feel like it's the day after con.
You sleep when you're dead, sir.
I did not sleep much this Dragoncon. This was like the Dragoncon of old for me. I have not went and partied that hard every night for that duration. I'm like, the dragon has feasted, and I was the feast.
Yeah, I mean, you
I had to.
You had a rookie with you this year, and
I had to do.
You
a
got tagged
proper
along
send-off.
on the first Dragoncon experience.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a tag along. It was more so like this
They're called wives.
Yeah. It's just.
But we've all been going for years and years, so it's like old hat at this point. But like, yeah, you got someone who's their first year. They're like, I must do all the things.
Which, I mean, I gotta say, it was a very like. I have been sleeping on some of the live entertainment as of late, and maybe that's because of, you know, some of my endeavors. Like I'm really starting to focus on music a lot more. So I was like, oh, music over here, music over there. There's music everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't go as hard with this. It sucked. Our kind of only real negative was this year we failed at the Hunger Games, and it's the first time we were like off site and not in a host hotel where we can like, all right, we can party to like 4 a.m. because we're like a 15-minute walk back to our room instead of having to find a stranger from the internet to drive us back to our hotel that's like 2 miles down the road.
I mean, which I gotta say though, you know, props to the rideshare services and everything, because even during peak times, like with games going on at Mercedes-Benz and the con and everything else happening simultaneously in downtown, like there was only one event, and that was, you know, Sunday night, where it was like, okay, it took an hour for us to go the 1.5 miles to our hotel. The rest of the time though was, you know, 10-15 minutes. Like, props to those people being able to navigate the road closures and everything else and knowing what the hell was going on, because me personally, if I was driving, it would have been a 2-hour endeavor each way.
Yeah, 2 hours, you could just fucking walked it at that point. Well, no, you couldn't, because your fucking knee was fucked up, so you're screwed either way.
I had old man knees.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that concrete floor in the dealer's hall. Every time I walk that motherfucker, like I can walk the con like all day and not hurt. And I spend like 3 hours at the dealer hall, and my fucking knees and back are like, fuck you, you're old.
That, for any shoe manufacturers out there that want to preach, you know, comfort and everything else, like,
go to America's Mart and test your shoes.
Flooring, it's like, oh, I love these shoes. Walk on that floor and see if you still love them.
Yeah, and I always blame it on the fact that we wait in that line for like an hour or 2 hours. But no, we like skipped the line this year because we had an interview to do in the dealer hall, so we got to go right in. And my knees still hurt when I got out of that place, even without the waiting in line part. So
and
yeah, I don't know what the
totally
what
forgot
the deal
to
is.
troll the masses too. Like, I miss the days of old, like where it was, you just jumped in line, you made friends, you were there for the experience. Like, so many people are like, oh my god, the line's so long. And then it's like, no, the line should be your opportunity to make friends and, you know.
And I gotta say, we did something different because of that. Normally, when we wait in the main line and come in the front door like every other person, start at ground floor and work our way up. So we end at Artist Alley, and by that time, we're tired, we're hurt. Half the time, we even skip it. But this time we started at Artist Alley because that's where our interview was. And I gotta say, there was a lot of cool shit up there that I'd not really seen. It was like, if you've got the money to spend on artwork, definitely go check out the Artists and Pop Artist Alley up in the top of the America's Mart, because there was a lot of cool shit. I mean, and you'll hear it either in this episode or next, our interview with Tony Moy, watercolor artist and comic book artist. He had some badass like superhero watercolor paintings. I mean, he had an awesome freaking Mandalorian. I may have to order one of those. I haven't got around to checking out his website.
Well, I mean, that was the amazing thing to me. Like, you know, I always envisioned like, oh yeah, people are just going to bring whatever artwork. But there were so many artists, you know, just sitting there sketching or doing their, you know, stuff,
making
right
stuff
on
while
the
they're
fly. And
working their
I'm
booth.
like, it was really awesome to be able to just kind of see that in person and be like,
oh yeah, and the fact that they were talking to fans, customers, whatever, while they're still doing their art. I mean, that's a level of, I guess, mastery that I don't have. Like, anytime I've tried to do art, I need to focus. Like, I'm too ADHD to, like, be painting a cool painting while still having a conversation with some random person who just walked up and, like, not fuck up one or the other.
And then be like, ooh, squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I guess too, like, once you've got your craft perfected, it's just like, if I screw up, they'll never know. I'll know how to fix it.
Like, this, you know, what
this
old,
is just called personality.
What old Bob used to say, there's no mistakes, just happy little trees. You screw something up, you just put a little happy tree.
I did see a lot of old Greg cosplayers. I'm like, Artist Alley would be the perfect place for just one of them to post up and be like, I do watercolors.
Oh.
I do have to say that
A fair number of Bob Rosses as always too.
I did not get the Costume of the Year award, I don't think.
All right, yeah, let's we'll go ahead and jump into that. Every year we like, what's the, because if you're not familiar with Dragoncon, and actually also go watch our YouTube video, because I've got a lot of video and pictures of the crazy cosplay that's going on the on our first like Dragoncon kind of YouTube vlog. But we always try to say, what is the, I'm not gonna say overused, but what's the biggest costume at the con that we've seen like a shitload of? And it was not what I expected. I was like, man, we're gonna see.
I mean, I knew K-pop Demon Hunter was going to be big.
Yeah.
And shout out to the people that put those costumes together in such short notice.
Yeah, and that's like and there may have been more than I thought, because I had not seen K-pop Demon Hunter yet. So like, we have a rule here that if we see a costume we don't recognize, it's probably anime, because we don't watch nearly enough anime.
But that is one I still need to check out.
I watched it the other night. I was drunk, but the music's actually kind of catchy. It was actually a pretty good movie. I was like, don't judge it by its like, you know, thumbnail. I'm like, all right, I was gonna sit down and watch the new episode of Terminal List, and I had my days wrong, and it wasn't out yet, and I'm like, fuck, I keep hearing everybody talk about this K-pop Demon Hunter, so I'll watch it with like 4 hard AF seltzers in. It was pretty good. I might have to rewatch it sober just to see if it's it's still pretty good.
How can it not? It's K-pop.
It kind of gave me a vibe. Do you remember Jim and the Holograms from like the 80s?
A little bit.
It kind of gave me that vibe about like a girl band who's like, you know, doing like crime, you know, whatever, saving people and shit. Like Demon Hunters by night, international pop stars by day. Hey, this having congestion gives me a good like movie announcer voice.
You just gotta have that full
In
time.
a world where 2 men can't breathe.
This is the world I'm living in.
But yeah, back to costumes. It was definitely the French people.
Yes, I did not, and
usually
I didn't even know what I was looking at, and then I Google it. It's
yeah,
like,
and normally you might see collection of costumes on one night because that's the day they do the photo shoot for that group. But those fuckers were around like all weekend. Like every day I was seeing the French people. It's like white striped mime looking shirt with the red beret, and for some reason a baguette strapped to their back like a freaking ninja sword. I finally had to ask somebody, I'm like, am I getting old? What the fuck is this? And it was like Clara Obscura Expedition 33. Apparently it's some kind of game.
yeah.
But like, yeah, I had never heard, that did not come across my radar whatsoever. And it was like, there was a ton of them. Maybe it was just because it was like an easy costume to pull off, but yeah, there was like they outnumbered the Deadpools this year. I wanted to see a Deadpool like French guy fight.
Well, I mean, even for the photo shoot, you know, like I saw maybe a handful of Deadpools. But I don't know, you know, I spent a lot of con in areas that normally I haven't spent a lot of cons. Like, I actually spent a good amount of time up at Pulse, or, you know, back on the the non-smoking side of the Hilton deck where, the DJs post up and everything. And I think that's why my knees were, because I was just like, we're just nonstop dancing. And I dance poorly, so I'm sure, like, I'm making all the ligaments hurt.
Well, I'm an old man, so I don't rave. So tell us about the nightlife side of Dragoncon, because that's not something we don't normally get into, other than we go to the bands and see the concerts. But as far as like just the club parties, we rarely hit that. How was that this year? Since I did not participate in those adventures.
Well, I don't know. I could say there were circles at one point. Like, there was $1 million prop money that turned into real money that started flying, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was. That's the beauty of Dragoncon, because, I could see the house heads, and they'd all be out there shuffling, and then I could see, the urban hip hop guys and girls, and they would be out there, twerking or two-stepping or doing their thing. And then, just the typical day-to-day, Dragoncon, white boy got no rhythm, and then other folks just, legit breakdancing. Like, I mean, it was just one of those things like Dragoncon is, where just so many different people come together and have a good time. But
Come together.
As somebody, like, when I go solo, it's not like, yeah, let me get out there and dance, And normally, like, even, Rachel would be like, I normally don't dance. What the hell did I do this weekend? And I said, you did Dragoncon. That's what happens.
Yeah.
People bring you out of your shell, they boost your ego, and everybody just has a good time.
Oh, and it was, yeah, because I always like going to which I didn't make it over there this year, the last party on Alderaan, because you get in there and it's just a DJ dance party, but there's so many Star Wars people in there that lightsabers become glow sticks, and everyone's just fucking swinging lightsabers and shit. It just looks cool as hell when you go in there.
I think one of the cooler things, we were at the zombie prom, and that was just basically emo night. But at one point there was a lady dressed up as a Sith, and then another lady, and they full on like did a impromptu battle. And it was one of those, like, where back a couple of years ago when MC Lars was there, and they're like, okay, we're going to do a slow mosh pit, and security just hears the word mosh and instantly freaks out. Well, they just see people start circling, and there's this impromptu sword battle going down, and I'm just like, that is freaking awesome. Like, for it to be impromptu, like, that shit almost looked, screen quality choreography. Like, just how that works, I don't know. It's Dragoncon is a thing of its own, and that's not even getting into the I guess kinkier side of Dragon After Dark,
Speaking of which, I mean, well, I'll speak on which in a second. Yeah, the only concert I made it to this year was MC Chris again, and he put on a good show, and he normally, like, fucking what's it, Fet's Vet is always like the encore. I mean, that's his biggest hit. He pretty much always closes with that. But this year it was after Fet's Vet. He's like, y'all want one more? And he did a fucking Ozzy tribute, and MC Chris doing Crazy Train was surprisingly good. I was like, oh shit, this is fucking sweet.
I guess while we're talking a little bit of a nerd, but Jack Black's got a cover that
I've heard Mr. Crowley.
Yeah, and
he has like
if like that right there should shut the president for we need another School of Rock.
Yeah, because if you hadn't seen the video, like, he's got kids in the band. It's him, and it's like famous singers' kids. It's like
Tom Morello's son.
Yeah, and I forget, I think like the Anthrax guy's kid was like, but yeah, they were like, I was like, no wonder these guys are like look like professionals, because they grew up with professionals. But yeah, that Jack Black Ozzy tribute was fucking awesome. Speaking of which, a lot of Aussie costumes this year.
Yes, which I'm never disappointed to see, but this year it resonated a little bit differently. I've
always seen a couple slashes, but this is like the first year I've noticed like so many Aussies in the crowd.
Very, very fitting tribute.
But speaking of a little kinky and Deadpools, there was a couple, and dude had a sweet like movie quality Deadpool costume, because you get a lot of the Temu morph suit Deadpools, but this guy had a legit Deadpool suit. But the girl that was with him was zombie Deadpool, and I never saw her break character. She was doing like the zombie shuffle like all weekend. At one point I saw them, like he was walking her on a leash, and she's just like, it's like Deadpool walking zombie Deadpool, and she's just doing the fucking zombie shuffle, like fucking ripped up. There's like, looks like flesh hanging out. I mean, it was a badass zombie Deadpool costume.
I did not walk like a zombie all week. Well, not on purpose anyway, but that to itself is a whole level of testament. Like the people that just can go that duration, never break character, you never see them take a break. Like it's like, is there some kind of like, hey, there's a little wormhole over here. You go here and you just vanish, and nobody ever sees you break character.
Yeah, because those things
look... Because the level of commitment for some people is just amazing.
If you're not familiar, Atlanta is hot in September and August. And, yeah, the massive...
Which we got an excellent break this year, though.
I mean, the massive costumes that people wear, and I'm like, heavy leather and PVC armor and shit. I'm like, dude, I'm wearing shorts. I'm sweating my nuts off. Like, I don't know how y'all people do it. I mean, props. It's an impressive feat of endurance and also artistic talent, because I definitely don't have the time, patience, or skill to make the costumes we see at Dragoncon.
Shout out to all the handlers, too. Like, I realize, like, you're a couple of forays into cosplay, and I'm like, no, I'm not a handler. I do not enjoy babysitting. I do not enjoy this lack of communication. It's like, I can't direct you where to go because you can't hear me, and you can't see, and this is just going off the rails.
And also, like, I'm usually the one in the group that's like, hey, here's our plan, we're going here, we're doing this. And then when I'm, like, incommunicado and I'm having to depend on, like, other people to lead the group, and y'all are, like, just kind of like, what are we doing? I'm like, I don't know. I can't move. Like, you go, lead.
I guess that's why everybody gravitate to the Marriott and just find an open space and stand there.
Yeah, it's like my one buddy who does, like, he does variations of Santa Claus a lot, and I always know where to find him, because he's like, I'm too old to fucking walk around Dragoncon. I'm just going to post up right in front of the Imperial Ballroom. If people want to see me, they come see me. I ain't fucking moving. So him and his wife is always like right there in front of the ballroom, like pretty much any day I go through the Marriott there. And it's like, he's like Santa Claus one day. He did the Violent Night Santa Claus.
Yes.
He had like the bloody beard and the freaking sledgehammer. He also does a pretty good not Pennywise.
Art?
No, Thousand Corpses.
Sid Haig.
Yeah, he does a good Sid too. So is there anything you saw this year that you haven't seen before? You're like, oh, I don't see a lot of those. That's cool. That's inventive.
If you would have asked me, like, right at that moment that I saw it, yes. But, dude, I saw so much that I don't even know what all I saw. I think one thing that really jumped out at me this year was a lot of the Battlestar Galactica stuff. And I noticed Battlestar in years previous, but...
Well, Katie Sackhoff was there this year, so that
might have been...
There was some Battlestar guests. And that... Because I hung out with we did some drinking and some smoking with a group of Marines that were all wearing some kind of, like, futuristic armor shit. And I'm like, I think they're the California Brotherhood from Fallout, or their Helldivers cosplay, because I've not played enough Helldivers to recognize the armor, but their shit looked like really cool. And one of them was like, because we're all smoking cigars, one of them's like, I don't smoke cigars. I'm like, well, you're a Marine. They have like Crayola flavored cigars if you want to get some of those. So we were sitting around, you know. I think I texted you because that's the time you got like, was hurting and went back to the room, and I'm like, we're drinking with the Marines. We might do an amphibious assault later.
Yeah, I don't.
We're horror fans here, and I mean there was a few good Art the Clown, the SpongeBob Art the Clown I saw, but there was one that I'm like, I had to get a picture of that one, and it's in our like YouTube video because I had never seen it before. Because there's always a horror photo shoot night, so we always see the big Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Michael Myers, which I didn't see Michael Myers in his bush this year. He was probably there, I just missed it. But there was the guy from Basket Case. Remember that movie with like the his mutant brother that was just in like a freaking picnic basket? That was like, and there was a dude walking around with a picnic basket and that little freaking monster crawling up out of the picnic basket. I was like, holy shit! It's like, I was like, now that's a deep cut horror reference. I've not seen one of those, and
I take it back. Puppets this year was one of the.
There was a lot of puppets, yeah.
You know, and like I've always, you know, what is it? The late night puppet slam and stuff like that. But dude, they were legit badasses. Like just about everybody like that had some kind of interactive puppet was like, I'm almost mind blown by this.
Yeah, because I think at one point I seen a guy like having an interaction with his puppet, and there was no one else around. He was just like on the elevator, like fucking like, or it might have been the escalator, but it looked like he was having a conversation with his puppet, and he wasn't like doing it for show to anybody. He was just like, that's the level of commitment some of these puppeteers get, where like they treat their fucking puppets like real people nearly, and it's like, it's always weird having a conversation with those people, because I've like gone up and like talked to a dude, and he'll respond with the puppet. I'm like, no, dude, I know you're the thing with its hand and its ass. I'm trying to talk to you, and it's like the fucking puppet keeps answering my damn questions. I'm like, I was like, yeah, the level of commitment for that is crazy.
I don't know. Like I said earlier, the weather this year was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it didn't really get hot until like Monday. It was like once I got home, it got hot. But yeah, it was, and it didn't. It stayed cloudy and cool, but it never really rained on us.
Yeah, it wasn't like a washout.
No.
Crowd level this year.
According to the official reports, it was like 75,000, but it didn't feel like. I don't know. Maybe we're just not where the crowds was, but.
It did not.
Other than maybe the usual Saturday night when all the day players
I can remember
in.
Usual Saturday night. It's like you find a place and you stay, or you just stay on street level.
Or it may have been the fact that since we weren't staying in a host hotel, we never had to wait in the elevator line. That's why I didn't feel as crowded this year.
Yeah, I don't, but even like going through the habit trails and stuff. Like, I mean, I can, literally be like, yep, this tunnel is stuffed, and
yeah, I think it was only like one time we hit a backup.
I came to a full-on dead stop, or if we did, it was just for a mere split second, and then we were moving.
It was like
again.
when the fire alarm went off in the Hyatt, and they like tried to shut down a floor. That was like the only time if there was a backup somewhere, it was because they were actually like having to stop things to do things.
Yeah, I felt like shout out to the volunteers, I mean we volunteered in the past, prior to us doing the podcast endeavor, but I think you and I probably could have handled that situation a little differently.
Yeah. We got, what was it? We're talking. I'm trying to think of other unique. I saw a Barf and Lone Star from from Spaceballs, but they had the front of the Winnebago. They had built like the whole like almost like a Captain America shield, but it was a giant cutout of the front of the Winnebago. So like you go to get their picture and they'd hold that out and it looked like they were sitting in the Winnebago. I was like, I got a ribbon from them. It said Spaceballs, the badge ribbon.
Yeah, that the ribbons, man.
Those are getting out of hand.
Did you see some of the post-con photos where like I think there was a lady standing on like the 12th floor and her ribbons like
holy shit
down on the ground and like still wrapped around.
I saw one last year in the Hilton where they were on like up on the 2nd floor and it was hitting the ground, but I didn't see the 12th floor ribbon person.
Yeah, like
I ran out of I bought too many ribbons last year, and I actually finished giving out all our last year's ribbons this year. So I need to order some new Cigar Nerd ribbons for next Dragoncon.
But I don't know. That was...
Oh, and I saw a Major Pain. And I was like, I see this, black gentleman drill sergeant outfit with the hat and everything. But he didn't have like a name tape on it. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I finally walked up to him. I was like, bro, are you Major Payne? Because I didn't want to like be racist and be like, no, dude, I'm a freaking G.I. Joe. I didn't want to like assume all black guys look the same. He's like, no, I'm Major Payne. I'm like, sweet. And he, I got a picture of him. He gave me the knife hand. I mean, he was, I was like, I've not seen a Major Payne.
Did you give him one tubby?
Oh, but yeah, I was like, that, and I saw the entire Pee-wee's Playhouse. It wasn't just a Pee-wee. They had a Pee-wee, they had Cowboy Curtis, they had the King of Cartoons, they had the Robot Lady, they even had a zombie, like the fucking genie head in the box. Yeah. It was like the whole like Pee-wee's Playhouse crew. I was like, that's pretty cool. And people who have friends, they decide not only to dress up, but to dress up as a group. I'm like, I always appreciate that. Where it's like, it's like y'all took the time to like, coordinate that shit.
Nah, they all just met impromptu. Like, oh, hey, you're part of the thing. Come over here.
Yeah, would that be wild? It's like,
yeah.
Oh shit, I'm Pee-wee. You're Zombie. We should walk around. Like, hey, we got a robot lady. I can't remember the freaking boombox robot lady, but
I don't know. It was definitely a Dragoncon. Like, I don't know. Based on some of our interviews, like I think I need to expand and start, checking out some of the stuff going on in the West End.
Yeah, this is another year where I did not make it to the West End, and they have good stuff over there because that's the home of the Apocalypse track, and some of the gaming stuff is over there. But it's like they had like a Stop the Bleed like medical class. They had like a bunch of like prepper classes and stuff. Kind of like the stuff that used to happen in the armory back in the day. But it's like every time I saw one of those on the schedule, it was like conflicting with something, either an interview or like a bigger panel that I wanted to go check out. So I never made it over to any of the Apocalypse track stuff. And they also that's usually where I think the 8-bit ball is. They have a couple events over there through the weekend. But it's like, I just never made it over there this year. And, of course, our annual Dragoncon cigar meetup at the Red Phone booth, which felt like VIPs this year because they were like, because apparently I guess the phone booth like advertised it, and they're like, dude, get here like super early because it's probably going to fill up. And we got there and there was like a line of people on the street, and we're like, fuck. So we get in, me and Amanda get in line, and apparently it was like they had a staffing shortage, like their staff hadn't got there yet, so they're like, it's open, but we don't have enough servers to accommodate everything, so they were not letting but a little bit of people in until the servers got there. And I like texted Ignacio, and I was like, bro, we're here. We'll be in as soon as we can get through this line. And then like he came out with like, one of the owners, and he's like, those guys, those are Armida guys, let them in. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, haha, all you people waiting in line. Sometimes having friends in low places is a good thing.
Made me really appreciate the host hotel, though. Which, I mean, just being able to go and recharge on the fly.
Yeah, that's probably why I called it such an early night, because, like, when you're in a host hotel, you can take breaks throughout the day. But when we got to con, we were at con, like, all day until pretty much we gave up. So there was no, like, rest breaks. That's probably why I didn't, except for, like, one night, go, like, super late.
I can't say the same.
Having a place to make a pit stop is a benefit of making it into the Hunger Games.
It's like, oh, look, we stayed out till it's daylight again. We did great. We did Dragoncon.
You missed it Sunday night after y'all left. We forget there's other things in Atlanta besides Dragoncon. And Sunday night, we had like a late night final kind of cigar meetup at one of the hotels. And we're out on a undisclosed location.
I think it got disclosed in the Facebook group.
Yeah, but I don't want, like, the general public finding it, because it's not crowded there. But there's condos across the street, and we're high enough up to, like, see into people's condos. And there was a dude, I think he was naked. Couldn't see from the waist down, but we could see he definitely did not have a shirt on. And he was just walking in a circle in his living room for 2 hours straight. Like, the whole time we're up there, this dude, like, phone looked like it's on speakerphone, because it's not holding it up to his ear, but he's holding it up to his head, and he's just like walking in a circle for like a solid 2 hours. And we finally like got on the edge of the building and started waving at him, and like, he finally looked over and saw us, like, hey, and he's like, oh shit, like ran back to the bedroom. So I'm like, that dude was probably naked. But yeah, he was just freaking pacing for like I'm like, that dude's on some good shit, or he's going through some shit, because
it's like, I don't know, man. I'm starting to see all kinds of strange characters. Is this reality right now, man? Nah, man. It's just your brain. But no, this looks so real. I could just see somebody, not realizing, that, hey, there's this big convention. You're probably going to see some strange shit.
That's always the funnest thing, too, because, I mean, we were staying in a non-host hotel, so we ran into all the people there for, like, the football events. But it's like, yeah, when you get out into the streets and hit some of the restaurants in Atlanta, and you get the guys that have come in for, because usually there's like a big football game or something that weekend, and like, yeah, the out-of-towners
too.
Yeah. So like, yeah, the out-of-towners sports fans come in, they're like, what the fuck is going, why is there stormtroopers everywhere?
Just Atlanta on Labor Day weekend.
Just the look on some of those people's faces when they're like, yeah, I went down to breakfast one morning, and I think it was I can't remember what state it was, but the team was the Gamecocks. I come back up from breakfast, I'm like, there's a bunch of cocks in the lobby. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know, Gamecocks, but yeah, there's a bunch of cockheads in the lobby.
Whatever. They've all got their own cosplays, too.
And my favorite interaction this weekend, I so wish I had my camera rolling. I did not. It was one of those completely organic experiences, and I did not get it on camera. I was like, I wish I had. Other than the ribbons, Swag and Seek has become the new Dragoncon obsession, where people bring little trinkets and hand them out or hide them throughout the hotels. So you're constantly trying to find these little Easter eggs of toys. And Amanda's become obsessed with it. After we went to the Goals convention, she was snagging all the freebies she could. So she had been like looking for shit all weekend. And we're walking through the Hilton, and I see this pile of stuff. And I'm like, hey, there's some Sag and Sweek. And she's like, ooh, and goes running for it. Well, right next to the pile is a dude dressed as a bush. And I didn't even see him. I thought he was some of the hotel, like, floral arrangements, because I mean, he was even standing in a pot, squatted down with his like good like leafy ghillie suit thing. And about the time she reaches out for the swag, he's like, blah. She screamed, damn near pissed herself. I started laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. I was like, I so wish I got that on camera. That is like hilarious. And then we saw him later, like in a different like hallway, and Amanda's like, "I'm not falling for it again," and the bush just starts laughing at her. I'm like, "That's great."
It's those organic moments though that make con, so great. As big as it is, you can still have those moments.
Did you? I know you made it all the dance parts. Did you make it any panels this year?
The only panel we went to was, and I think it was more so just
have a place to sit down for a minute,
recharge. But was down at the Brit Track, and it was some game show thing. And anyway, we recharged and we left. That was the extent of our panels. Like, I don't, because I
yeah, we're usually so busy running around trying to see content and people watching and actually meet up and hang out with our friends that we only see once a year.
That's always the big draw for me. It's just the people watching. And I guess this year we migrated into us being the people that were being watched.
Well, it was like this year, because normally our podcasting schedule, we've got interviews like every day, but somehow all our shit got scheduled for like Saturday and Sunday. So I'm like, oh, like Friday I have nothing I have to do. I can actually do regular con stuff. So we finally hit a few panels. We went to the because this is whatever, Emily Dashel or whatever. The cast of Bones was there this year, I think, for the first time. So we went to the Bones panel because that's like Amanda's comfort watch show. She watches a shitload of Bones. Never saw David Borealis or whatever the fuck his name is. He wasn't there for that panel. And every time we went by the autograph line, he was not in there. We just kept missing him, so I never got to see him. And then we went to the 40th anniversary Back to the Future panel with Christopher Lloyd and I can't remember the other guy's name.
It was definitely good to see Christopher Lloyd at con.
Yeah, and it was... Those guys are still good as actors, but they may be a little old for panel life. Because at first they're like, this panel's only going to be 30 minutes. I'm like, that's weird. And then they get up there, and those two guys cannot hear for shit. It was like trying to talk to your like great grandpa, because like normally Dragoncon's all right, we're going to take questions from the audience, and we're going to take questions from our Discord. And they're like immediately like, yeah, we're not doing questions from the audience because these guys can't hear anything. So it was like the moderator just like basically like yelling questions at them because they couldn't hear. And sometimes they answered the question. Sometimes they misheard the question and still gave you a cool answer to something that was unrelated to the question asked. But yeah, it was fun seeing Christopher Lloyd. I mean, he told some great stories. And I can't remember the other guy's name that was with him, but he was the principal in Back to the Future, and he was also Tom Cruise's commander in like Top Gun. He was the guy that was always smoking a cigar and was like, you screw up this much, you're going to be flying a cargo plane full of dog shit out of Hong Kong. And in fact, I caught a picture of him. I put it on Instagram where he's kind of like squinting at the audience and looks kind of grumpy. And I'm like, if you screw up, this man will have you flying rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong. And yeah, he was fun too. He was funny. He was saying all, like, first thing that he comes out and he's like, you're all a bunch of slackers.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of, panels and guests, I mean, I think we had our highest success rate of interviews this year. I mean, we had
we usually
officially zero no-shows, and there was only one that we were unable to get, and that's just because it was supposed to be interview him on the floor, and he was just booked for signings and panels of his own.
Yeah, we had like a time window that he was supposed to be available, and we got there, and apparently he got sent to another panel or something because he had a sign that said won't be back until like 5 o'clock, and it was like, yeah, we're not going to wait for 3-4 hours. But yeah, as far as like people actually showing up for interviews, it's like, other than that one that we could not find, like we didn't have any no-shows this year. So we've got, and you'll hear some of those. We got more interviews than we can probably fit in one episode, so you'll see some of those coming up and then some of those next week. But did you have a favorite, or is there something we learned that you're like, oh, that's interesting? I didn't even think on that.
Yeah, how much privacy we've all given away in the skies of national security. That's a rabbit hole that...
Yeah, the last couple of years we've gotten some like policy type people, or whatever. Last year when we talked like the CIA guys and stuff like that, it's like I always like talking to the scientists, but yeah, these like kind of intel guys and stuff that we've kind of caught the last few times is like, oh, this is a rabbit hole we can definitely go to. I know it's a good interview when like after the interview, like you're like, we need to like see if we can get that guy on for like a full episode, because there's way more stuff to cover than we can cover in the 10-minute window that we get.
And interviews and everything seem to be a lot more organized. Like, the years past, like, I mean, we were literally getting notifications or memo like 20 minutes prior, and be like, are you available now? And it's like, that's where the host hotel really came in clutch, because it's like, yeah, I think we can make it to the room and back down in that time period.
Yeah, pretty much, like, yeah, I think we had, like, all our interview notifications before we ever, like, I had them on, like, Monday or Tuesday. There was only one that they, like, added, like, last minute, and I still got, like, 24 hours notification on that one. So it was like, yeah, it's, and in years, our non-Walk of Fame interviews, which, behind the scenes, we've been approved for Walk of Fame interviews, no one has, like, said yes to any of the ones we've requested, so we're on that list if someone ever says yes. So if you're a celebrity out there listening to the Cigar Nerds, hit us up and let us know, like, we should request you at next Dragoncon. But those interviews are typically press conference style interviews when we've done them. But then last year they kind of did that with the non-Walk of Fame guests, and we usually had to share our interview time with one or two other outlets, where this year it kind of went back to all our interviews were solo interviews. And I like that better, because if I ask a question and their response triggers another question, we can kind of follow down that rabbit hole. But, in
a group
session, like, I may ask something that keys me up, like, oh, I want to ask this now, but no, it's not now someone else is going to ask a question, and it's going to kind of maybe divert the path I was planning on going down.
I mean, it's definitely a double-edged sword, because there's been times where, some guest you can just queue up and they'll run, with whatever, and others it's,
like pulling, short answers, and it's like, I gotta fill time, and I gotta come up with more questions to ask. But yeah, when those are fun when we have a group of people, because then I got a couple minutes to think and wait and come up with new questions while everyone else is asking their questions. But yeah, I love some of those guys that are just like, yeah, you just key them up and just let them go, and you almost have to rein them in to, like, all right, I want to ask a couple more questions, but they'll talk. Oh, but yeah,
it's always interesting to me to be like, yeah, I am not qualified to be sitting here talking to you about this topic now.
Like when I do science segments on here, I'm bullshitting and reading from a fucking news article half the time, but it's like some of these people, it's like they start talking about stuff and I'm like, oh, I'm dumb. Like I'm not smart enough to ask you questions, because that's why I've started trying to do at least a little bit of research beforehand. That's the other thing I like about the kind of the new way media has done, where we, instead of getting notifications day of, we get them 2 or 3 days in advance. I'm like, all right, cool. That gives me time to, like, actually read some articles and have some ideas of things to ask these people. Now that I know I'm talking to this person, I can kind of do a little bit of research.
But it's always awesome that, just con in itself is the icebreaker or the segue.
Yeah, you can always divert to, like, how's your con? What have you seen? Like, start asking them about Dragoncon. But yeah.
And then it's like, haha, you're really smart, but we both went way too hard.
Yeah, and shout out to Robert Hampson, Ian Harris, Kurt Opsahl, Kim Stedman, Stephen Frank, Tony Moy. Yeah, you will be hearing our interactions with all those dudes coming up in this show or the next. Oh.
They're people, Joe. People. Maybe.
People.
AI.
Gentlemen and ladies and in-betweeners. However you identify.
I don't know. Like, I gotta say, like, I had a very positive con experience. It's always interesting. You hop on social media, either during or post con and hear the horror stories and.
Well, it's like anything. There's always a loud minority of people that, like, the people that are having a good time don't have time to talk about having a good time. It's the people that, the rare people that have a bad time that then they got time to bitch.
Well, and I mean, I think, maybe some situations, folks need to look out for their own. And, this tagline gets circled around, see something, say something. Like, me personally, I'm more of a see something, do something about it type person. But, I think that, it might behoove us folks to, take it upon ourselves and not be afraid to, help another person if you see that there's a need or
assist or, defend your dragon homies or dragon strangers that become your homies. I mean, how many times have we had like younger people that'd be like, oh, I got harassed by so-and-so. I'm like, well, cool. Hang out with us for like an hour. Cause if they come back to harass you, we'll just kick their ass. We're not afraid to tell somebody to fuck off. Like, we're bearded, intimidating dudes. Like, most of the time we won't have to fight somebody. We'll just give them the look and they'll piss off.
Well, I mean, it's, most of the time, most people are not looking for an altercation anyway. They're looking for a target. And, I would say surround yourselves with people that are not going to enable you to be a target. Make sure that your friends truly are your friends.
I mean, and we did go to the practical self-defense panel. So there are self-defense panels at Dragoncon if you wanna go check that out. And they had cookies. He showed us ninja moves and gave us cookies.
Did he show you how you defend yourself with a cookie? Ha ha! Crumb in your eye.
You burn the cookie and then you sharpen it and use it as a shiv. Did you ever get to try the Dragoncon bourbon? That was one thing I was like, there's Dragoncon bourbon and vodka this year, but I don't think I ever. They were selling it in the Hyatt, but
I don't know, I kept getting buckets and extra shots. Like, I realized how expensive Dragoncon can be if you don't prepare for Dragoncon.
Yeah,
dude, I brought 0 bottles.
Normally in a host hotel, we bring our own booze and we might get a drink or two when we're out. But yeah, it was like this year, like being off-site, did not bring any booze. I brought a bunch of cigars, but I didn't bring any booze. So yeah, I spent more money on alcohol and Uber rides than I normally do.
We had, like you said, things organically. We had a few friends show up Saturday night that we didn't know. It's just, hey, you're at Dragoncon? We're at Dragon. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to need 8 buckets. The bill for 8 buckets, all with
$100.
added shots?
150.
Yeah, I was like, man, like, I can usually go all day without spending that, and I just spent that in one go.
Yeah, I supposedly one of our local liquor stores has the Dragoncon bourbon, but I've not.
I wonder who it's distilled by.
It's Old Fourth Ward Distillery.
Okay.
So that's how cause I went to their website and I'm like, I googled Dragoncon bourbon because I forgot to buy a bottle while I was there, and it took me to their website and they had a store locator and it said it was in our Dawsonville liquor store. So I went to sneak over there. I'm off tomorrow. I may go over there and see if I can find some Dragoncon bourbon. Maybe we'll do a bourbon review next episode. When we've got the crud out and we can actually taste the bourbon.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not really tasting much of anything. I'm just happy that so far I've made it through this and without just hacking up along.
Yeah, and I like the the Hyatt always does like themed food around Dragoncon. They had like, I think this year it was like SpongeBob themed, so they had like a SpongeBob burger or something, which I didn't try. But they had in the little snack shack, they had this pecan pie thing that had like a chocolate Death Star on top, and then they had like SpongeBob Rice Krispies, and they had some other kind of like Oreo cakey thing that looked like the piranha plants from Super Mario. I was like, the fucking level of detail they go into is always impressive. The only thing I miss is there was no alcoholic ice cream this year. The company that comes every year like went out of business, and last year I think the Hilton made their own like alcoholic ice cream stand, but it wasn't there this year. And I'm like, damn it! It's like one of my favorite things at DragonCon is booze ice cream.
Yeah, I don't, you know. So I guess speaking of that, like to me, I guess crowd wise, I never had to stand up to eat.
No,
you know,
we found seating about every time.
Like, and the secret food court isn't so secret. Like, there's actually signs like this way.
And usually, I think they were actually open all weekend.
Yeah.
I never went over there, but normally that place is only open like Thursday, Friday. But yeah, they were actually stayed open this year, which was nice.
And the con suite does exist.
Yeah, we visited it at least once, and weird party interactions. We were waiting in line for MC Chris, and dudes in front of us. There's a pretty legit Doctor Doom and like a couple other guys that weren't in costumes. But Homeboy whips out a backpack full of freaking Jello shots. I probably did 5 or 6 Jello shots with like Doctor Doom while we're waiting in line for like MC Chris. And this old man like wanders up at one point dressed as Wilford Brimley. And he has a sign that says, "I got diabetes." And he was carrying around a can of like Quaker Oats because Brimley also did like the Quaker Oats commercials. But he opened his can of Quaker Oats, and that's where he had his beer stashed. Was like, everyone's like open his Quaker Oats, pull out his tall boy, and take a drink, put it back in his Quaker Oats. I was like, yeah, that dude was fun. Yeah, that's another thing about DragonCon. It's everything from like little kids to seniors that are like, I've been a nerd for 30, 40 years. I'm still a nerd. And like, I'm like, man, I hope I'm still coming to DragonCon when I'm like 60, 70, instead of just feeling like I'm 60 or 70.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my hair to go full white, and then I can just be Hannibal from the A-Team.
I'm gonna get a bionic knee.
Walk around, give me I'm not smoking in the hotel. This isn't part of my cosplay. I'm Hannibal. Well, as we kind of bring this in for a landing, definitely go check out DragonCon. This here, Filthy Ghooligan, I like it. We're recording very early, so I'm drinking coffee, but this also has kind of a creamy coffee flavor to it, a little bit of earthiness, a little bit of pepper, almost kind of a oatmeal-y to it. So this, it's definitely a medium, but it's full flavor. So this would be a good like morning cigar, and it's not going to like overpower you and like, you know, fuck you up for the day. So yeah, definitely check out the Filthy Ghouligans while they're available. And if you want a more grassy flavor, go check out the Filthy Ghooligan when it comes out. They're still on the shelves.
Yes.
So with that, we'll be right back with probably a bunch of interviews. And you've been watching the Cigar Nerds podcast. Check us out on cigarnerdpodcast.com and on the ESO Network, esonetwork.com. And don't forget, smoke them if you got them. Like, comment, and subscribe.